Hey everyone, this video is about unforeseen circumstances and parting ways, and also potential reconciliation. And this has to do with intimate relationships, people that you have absolutely loved. This is not someone maybe you were casual friends with that you don't see, and maybe you don't see very often, and it's not someone you normally think about until you see them in passing, etc. This is a situation where you have loved that person, have self been self-serving to them, and all of a sudden one day they're gone without notice, without discussion, without communication. And it's kind of an abrupt thing. And they decide to I'm not trying to use this analogy as a criminal, but let's say you're handcuffed to someone, because we are cuffed to everyone we are that we share ourselves with. So we're kind of cuffed to them, and let's say they find the key to the handcuffs and they, during the night, uncuff themselves and run away. You have no idea where they've gone. So you're left dealing with the grief, the sadness, the anger, the 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 place where you have not had resolution, and you're wondering, the age-old question is why? Why did you leave? We say that actually when people pass away unexpectedly. Why did this person pass away? And you can get, I'm trying to think of the word for it. Words have missed my mind lately. Oh, the autopsy. So when someone passes away, you can get an autopsy, and hopefully you'll get resolution and find out why that person passed away. Could be seen or unforeseen, and sometimes it just comes on suddenly, and then as long as you have an answer, you can somewhat find some sort of, you can come to terms with it. But when someone breaks free um, without talking with you, where you can't do an autopsy and you can't find out the why, you're left to pick up the pieces, try and put it back together the best way you know how. And all of a sudden, maybe one day you come to a place of acceptance and maybe even forgiveness. So here you are, you've come to that place, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, the person who chose to disconnect and break free without word, they may or may not come back. And let's just say they do via text, message on Facebook. Maybe they call you with a private number, or they show up at your door. So what do you do when that happens? And for me, I've been through parental alienation for over 10 years, and I have dreams once in a while that I reconcile with my daughters, and I get to meet my grandkids and we all hang out, and it it's as if we have never been separated. And I wake up from that dream, and it's kind of a heartbreaking dream, because as a parent, you do want, you want a connection with your children, but when you wake up from that dream and it hasn't happened, you get back to reality and you continue to work on yourself. But what happens what happens if one day there's a call, a knock on the door, a text message, "Hey mom," you don't really know what to do. This has not happened for me yet. Talk about it with my husband, who is my best friend, my love, my partner, and he's just an awesome dude. he's also he's also an iron worker, so he's pretty tough. He's pretty tough. I mean, there's been times when people on his crew actually quivered in fear. He was going to be supervising the whole situation. So, anyways, what happens? And we talked to my husband about it. I said, I think sometimes what would I do if one of my daughters was to show up and say, "Hey, can we talk? Hey, I'd like to stop by, like to have a conversation." And he said, "Well, first and foremost, I'm here to protect you. And second of all, I'm here to be your voice of reason to make sure that you're not going to be used." And some people do not have good motives when they come back. Um, Most children know their parents would do anything for them, to see them, to be with their grandkids, to hold them again, to have a relationship. And sometimes the motives are not true. Sometimes the motives are only for financial gain, and that's about it. Or to gain access to maybe a parent's car, a home, a vacation home, the money, to trust, etc. So I think it's really important for each one of us who has experienced that sort of loss to have a voice of reason on the other end, or someone to sit by your side, or to read through text messages, or to be present when a reconciliation takes place. Because the person that's sitting next to you has not had the same heartache. It's kind of a fly on a wall. You want to be with someone who is not emotionally, mentally, physically, or financially attached to, or I should say emotionally attached to this situation, so they can be a voice of reason for you. So they can see things that you don't see, because we know for a fact sometimes we have friends or family members who are dating people who they're enamored with, or they're in love with, or they're planning on marrying. And other people see that partner as someone that doesn't have the right intentions, or doesn't have a true heart. So we might see it different. And it's hard to tell a family member, cousin, aunt, or uncle, "Hey, the person you're with, this is what I'm seeing. There's kind of a few red flags, and I just want to let you know that it's probably something you want to take a step back from, and just maybe write down the pros and the cons, and maybe they eventually will see it the way you do." And we all know, though, when someone's in love, it's almost impossible to have them see things through clearer eyes instead of rose-colored glasses. So that's all I wanted to talk about, is that I think it's important prior to a reconciliation that you have someone by your side, whether it's in the room, on the phone, someone who is just with you and is present with you, so they could see the body language of your child or the person you're reconciling with. Because the other person will get a feeling, whether it's going to be a positive feeling or negative feeling, but they got to get that feeling that the person reconciling really does have true intentions and a true heart, and it is not about money. It's not about financial gain. It's not so that they can gain anything but the relationship back, and the ability to connect with you and embrace you as who you are today. So that's all I wanted to talk about. Have someone by your side. It's like I said, I haven't been there yet, but this is the advice I think I'm going to give myself, and also what my husband says is that he will be with me, and he will make sure that I'm not going to be taken advantage of, and that I'm safe, and that it's absolutely not going to be a situation that's going to interrupt our very peaceful lives. So that's all I know. I hope everyone has a good day, and we'll talk with you soon. Bye bye.